Hello, my fellow board gamers. Today I am bringing you a run through of Pret-a-Porter. Now, if you have a shorter insight, you can check out my overview from last week. Now, this is the third edition. It's brought to you by the designer here, the art by this person here, and it's brought to you by these guys as well. Now, this is a 2 to 4 player game. I'm bringing you a run through with just me today, acting out as 2 players. Now, it says 90 to 120 minutes. I've never managed to play this game under 3 hours, so bear that in mind. And this is a heavy complexity game where we are fashion companies trying to acquire contracts which are free of charge. We'll be adding buildings to our company area. We'll be hiring staff which give you great benefits. We'll be getting designs. We'll be taking these designs to the fashion shows themselves. We'll be trying to get the materials needed on the designs to be able to produce the designs and take them over to the shows themselves. We'll be hoping to get those raw materials from the bottom here, and I'll go through all the spots as well shortly. And once you go to the shows, you're open to sell these collections, get prestige, get the most money, and run your organization as efficiently as you can to acquire the most money and the victory points for the win. Now, each company starts off with this sort of upkeep track, which lets you keep a good idea of what your costs are from sort of these sort of cash registers. So every time those crop up, you're going to be paying the money for your organisation. And you can see you've got 1, 2, 3, which starts on this pink spot, and that will vary as you buy and add more things to your business. You start with 2 designs based on this sort of random choice of one of these sort of select designs. So you can see we've got the dresses, gives you your starting cards. These guys have got the trousers. You start with $40. You've got 3 tokens, and typical worker placement game, you're going to be putting these out, and we're pretty much ready to go. So the first phase is the planning phase, and this is where, let's just assume you've got the starting track. Orange is first. They've got this token to show that they are up, and they're going to place on 1 to 9. So number 1 then, let's just well, I wouldn't really demonstrate this so early on in the game because I haven't really got a decent collection to go and get the most from the credit card, which is you go to the bank and you're going to potentially be getting well, you will be getting a credit card and getting more money, which gives you more liquidation to be able to do more stuff in terms of purchasing. So we'll demonstrate number 1 for you. The pinks are up next, and they're looking at the board thinking, right, do I want a contract, an extra building? Oh, this accountant. I'm going to go straight to hiring an accountant, no questions asked, and you'll see why shortly. Back over to orange, they're going to go and get a contract. Pink's going to go and get a building, just to kind of demonstrate what each thing does. Orange are thinking, right, well, I'm going to need materials to be able to fulfill these and take them to the show. I will go and start stocking up on this one. And red is finally up. They're looking at, they've got a sort of rock icon and a night. Is that an evening wear? There's an evening wear and a couple of rock out here. So they're going to go and grab one of those designs. Now, all these will be replaced at the end of, well, at the end of each sort of month. Now, I should say that this whole game is played out over 1 year. You can see this sort of row here. You got separated into quarters, so there's 12 months. You can see the little numericals there. So 1, 2, second month. You got quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4. So that's the entirety of the game. And the first thing we're doing is replacing our actions. So we're in that planning phase still. So we've done that. Now we're over to the actions. So starting in numerical order again. So number 1 all the way to 9, and you go left to right. So hypothetically, if red had have gone here, it would go orange first, then red, which becomes more important in terms of these spots when you're choosing actual cards. And interestingly, there's certain cards that let you go even before these people who've gone there. For example, this one here, if the real estate agent, you can see it's got a little pawn symbol with a cross, which means you don't have to send a pawn there, but it says you can resolve location number 3 without paying the purchase cost. So let's just say orange has had that card. When it came to round 3, these guys would activate first, so they'd take one of these before pink, even though they have an icon, a token on the board. So look out for them cards, they're really handy. So we're over to number 1 then, the bank. So oranges would trade, well, they'd have a look at their collections, and if you had a collection of say 3, so you can see each card has the raw materials needed to produce this, you can see the money acquired when you sell it during the exhibition, and it's got this little basketball symbol which is sportswear. Now if you had say 3 of these cards that had sportswear, you could go to the bank and you could get a credit card with 30. 1, 2, 3, but in this case we've only got one of each, so we're going to, our maximum size collection is 1, so we're going to get a credit card size of 10, which isn't great, but it gives us a bit more liquidity. So we take 10 from the bank, put that into our funds, and you can see there's interest to pay. So the little cash register represents that you have to increase your upkeep costs. So we've increased that by 1, and this is the cost we're going to pay at the end. Usually at the end of a after a show you have to pay these, but the upkeep costs, you can see how many cash registers are out there. That's going to be a lot of interest we're paying. Over to number 2 then, which is orange again, and they can either go for this TV appearances. You can see on the card it's going to activate on the left during this show phase, and it's going to gain the 4 prestige, which is really nice. Actually, we're going to go for that one. Over to round 3, they're going to go for this banquet hall, which is a building, so it's going to immediately cost them the top left, which is 4, so we're going to pay that one 6 change. Then you add your buildings to your far right. You can have as many as you want, and they give you capacity to host more staff. So at the moment you can only have 3, this lets them have 4. Now what is this banquet hall? It's going to increase their upkeep costs, so you start off with 3, it's now going to go to 5 because they're adding 2, and this is going to gain them a PR. Now I'll go over what PR and quality and trend are in a bit when we get to the show phase. It'll make a lot more sense, and we'll plonk that building there. Over to number 4, they're going to hire someone. We've got a talented designer to gain trend, a marketing agent, but we're going to go for the accountant, an absolute must, folks. So that's the pink guy, so they can pop it in one of these spots. They got one available, and it's an upkeep of 2. So theoretically, yeah, 2, it'd go up 2, but if you actually do the maths, you got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so it's actually down 1 because you've covered up one of the -1s. Now this will gain us 5 money when every time we see this upkeep symbol, and they've done that one. Number 5 then, so that's pinks again. They were going to go for one of these rock symbols, weren't they? And we're going to go for this one. Now what you're looking for on these cards is you got the money you're going to get paid out, the symbol which we're after, but this symbol here, we're after dresses if possible, because if a dress, say if that was hypothetically a dress, we get an extra trend because we're on trend as a company for developing those certain designs, some nice synergy, but it's a jacket, so we're still going to go for it anyway. So we plonk that design there. Number 6, no one's at. Number 7 then, we have got oranges, and they're looking for these materials here. Now in terms of these areas, you've got your, what they called, your local manufacturer, your warehouse. This is where you import, and you can see the quality changes depending on what location, but the costs increase as well. So here they're going to go for, this one's going to pay more money. They've got the trousers, so I should add a trend on there just to keep on top of what we're going to potentially get. So we're going to go for this one, a red and a white. So that's going to cost us 7 plus the 12 is 19, which is quite steep to be fair, but we want to get the ball rolling. Now you can see we've spent 19 on raw materials to meet this, and we're only going to get paid out 27. But the key really is to get sets of these on the go, so you get more multipliers of prestige, which will make more sense shortly. And more importantly, we're going to get 2 of these quality symbols. Now you stash these on here so every player can see. You got your trend, your quality, and your PR there. So that was number 7. 8's done, 9's done. That was literally the action phase. Now we have an opportunity to grow our business. So you can either train one of your staff, or you can upgrade some of your buildings. So if these guys want to upgrade it, the banquet hall, to a great banquet hall, they can pay the money here, so 3, which they're going to do just to show you that one. And you turn it upside down. Now this time they gain PR, they now gain 2 PR, and additionally they win ties for public relations category. Very nice. And these guys have got nothing. They could do the accounting as well, which you probably would do actually, because that's a really good money earner. So they pay 2 to train them. Let's take 2 from there. And yeah, we've now trained them into an experienced accountant. Now, bear in mind that the upkeep costs go up because these guys are more demanding. They've got higher salaries and bigger rental costs, or not rental, but yeah, you know, whatever maintenance costs you got. So you got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've gone up to these guys haven't acquired any growth or anything to upkeep. So now we go to the upkeep phase. We literally, you can see the board depicts all the symbols. We go down one and you look at your upkeep. So we've got 8 to pay here to change. Now if you ever can't pay, you're gonna have to take a loan, and these come in 20 denominations. You can see the upkeep slightly more than the credit cards, and you're gonna have to pay 28 back as well. So be mindful that you can't just take those loans anytime. You can go to the number 1 spot to get a credit card, but you have to take a loan if you can't pay your upkeep phase. Over to these guys, they've got 5 to spend on the upkeep. Now I like this track. It gives you, you know, as long as you do these as you go out throughout the game, it kind of helps you figure out your cost rather than having work out all the time. So that was the upkeep phase. We now move on to the next month, but before we do that, we have to replenish these. So you just discard these out the game. Gives you a lot more variety, but it's a shame because there might have been stuff you were really after. So we've got 4 new ones out. So it's a bit of luck sometimes with the designs, because you know, you're after certain symbols to be able to take advantage of collecting them. But that's why acquiring some of these cards from here, because some of them let you get more cards from the top of the deck, which is nice. Sometimes you can take several cards and pick one to keep. So let's get these out. I've kind of got them all the wrong way around. Here we go. So over to take these back. I believe your starting player stays the same from after the first round, and then it changes thereafter. So we're over to oranges again, and oranges are thinking, right, I've got materials for this one that I could really do with some more evening wear, and there is an evening wear, so they're gonna rush there. And reds up, they're looking at these, they can see that there's a good way to get quality. We're looking at the first show now. Let's talk about shows then. So you can see throughout the year you've got a show at the end of quarter 1, and all 4 lines represent that all 4 of these icons are going to score. As you go through the months, the quarters, you can see these are only it's going to be 2 shows, some more shows, but they're only going to score 3 of the top lines. These guys is 3 shows, but only 2 lines. So basically that means PR is going to score and number of collections is going to score. So nothing for quality and nothing for trend. And then finally in the last quarter, there's only 1 each scoring. So in terms of this first quarter, PR is at the top. So in a 2-player game, that's going to be 4 victory points for first, and there's a sneaky point for being second. Trend is going to score 3 points. Set collecting, well, the number of set collections we send is going to get 2 points and 1 point for quality. So that means we want to be focusing on PR at the moment. But later on in some of the other quarters, you might notice that you might go heavy for PR here, but it's not actually going to score on that one or that one. So you kind of have to really judge what's worth your investment throughout the game. Now, PR, where were we? Orange have gone for one of these. Pink, knowing that they need PR, there's nothing really PR related out there, but I like the look of this investment house, and I think we're going to go for that one. Now, this investment house, you got an upkeep of 1, and it's 4 immediately, but during each of these upkeep phases you can spend either 5, 10 or 15 money straight away to gain 8, 17 or 25 victory points. So you know, I should add that money is like for like in the game, so 1 money is 1 victory point at the end. So this is giving you the chance to turn 5 money into 8 victory points, and if you increase it or you grow it and upgrade it, you can see you get a few extra perks as well. So that's what we're aiming for there. Oranges are gonna go for an accountant as well if they get a chance to get that one. Reds are gonna, what's the money situation like? We're looking okay for now, but reds are gonna need materials. Now they got these 2 ones here. I think they're gonna go this spot, and orange is going to need orange is going to get a contract. They're very valuable. And over to pink, who need the money. They're going to get a credit card so we can demonstrate hopefully all the actions here. Look, we've got 1 through to 7, so we can have a good crack at this. Now we are, yeah, we've done that. So over to the action phase, done the planning phase. Number 1 then. So pink have 2 rock symbols, so they can go 2 here, which means they get 20 credit card. So we put that on the side, we increase the upkeep, which will go to 11. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 that was, wasn't it? Unless there's a sneaky one I'm missing somewhere. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. And we get 20 money from the bank, which gives us a lot more money to work with as we buy, because it's going to be costly for these guys to buy all those from this warehouse here. So that was number 1. Number 2, the oranges. What were they doing? I think they were going to go and buy this quality consultant, although quality is going to score the least at the moment. Maybe they'll go for this or this. I like this one actually. It means you can participate in step 5 without actually having a pawn there, and you get to go before this player. Well, it's orange anyway, so but they get to draw 2 cards, keep one and discard the other. So we're going to go for that one. Limited on space here. Over to number 3, then we're going to go for the investment house. So this is going to cost them 4 money straight away. That's at the top here. And they can place this building. I've got space again there. Increases their upkeep by 1, but that will come into play on the next upkeep phase. Over to number 4, they're going to go for the accountant, and that was oranges. So that is going to increase their upkeep by 2. Actually 1, because we've covered 1 up. So 2, 3, 4. And, oh, why is it only 4? I felt like there was something else that added. Maybe not. Okay, and number 5. So there's actually a card in play here which has number 5, and it is the same colour anyway. So it basically means they can draw 2 of these, keep 1 and discard the other. So they're looking at these symbols, and they haven't got any pairs of trousers on the icons either, so they're not too fussed actually. Maybe they're going to go for the one with the most money, or they could look for the one. Well, actually this would be probably a better play, because you can see the colours match there, which makes it easier to go to one of these ones where you only get the one type of material, and they get to pick one of these as well. So they're going to go for evening wear. Yep, evening wear. So we're getting quite a few designs here now. Over to number 6, no one's there. Number 7 is reds. Right, reds are going to pay. They've got their credit card money, so they want a purple, which is 6, a green, which is 3, so that's 9, a white is the 12, that's 21, and a yellow, that's 30 money. That's so much money, but that should pay out nicely in a minute. So they've acquired a yellow, a white, a green, and a purple. So you can put these on here just to remind yourself that you've met the requirements, but you can always mix them up later if your plan changes. And they get 2 quality as well, which, to be fair, isn't that big at the moment, because you can see quality is on the lower end of the spectrum, and these get wiped out at the end of the show frustratingly. Where were we then? Over to number 7's done, 8's done, 9 is done. We move this down, so we're on the upkeep phase, and oh, we had the chance to do a growth phase as well, which I think we're going to do actually. These guys are going to upgrade this by 3, so that gives them some more benefits. Oh, actually they're very limited on money. I don't think we're going to spend anything. We're going to, oh, this could be very costly now. They spent so much money, but we have the accountant. So they're not doing any growth phase. These guys aren't going to grow anything. Over to the upkeep phase, we kind of skipped ahead prematurely there. We now get the chance, before you actually pay your upkeep, to see if you've got any cash registers. That's what they look like, isn't it? So upkeep symbols. These guys have one. These guys have not got any. They've got another one here as well. So these guys are going to use their experienced accountant to gain 7 money, which is very much needed. Hopefully they've just got enough to cover their costs. They're not going to do the investment help just yet, but basically investment help would means they could spend 5 and gain 8 victory points straight away. But we haven't really got the liquidity to be doing that just yet. We now do our upkeep costs. So we're on, what did we say, 10, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've done that maths wrong. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, and the loan, 11. That's why it was up there. So that's why it was there. Yeah, 11. We have got 11 just about. So you can see We did have 5, so we could have spent that 5 to have invested in the investment house, but we're not going to worry about that just yet. Over to these guys, just double check 2, 3, 4, that's fine. 4 to pay, very different strategies playing out here, but these guys are hopefully going to earn big next. We then have, what have we done, the upkeep phase, yep. Remove all remaining cards from the board, get rid of those ones. Now, to be fair, you'd replenish all them, but I'm only going to demonstrate really 1/4, and it won't really require me to replenish those, but that's what you would do then. We're then going to the exhibition round, and that's this one here. You can see the symbol shows you that you have to change over any ribbons you've acquired from the previous turn into victory points depending on the player count number. So if you had a couple of these, 2-player game, it's 1 point per ribbon, so 2 points for that one and 2 points for that. You'd add your victory points there and then, and you discard those. We then enter the show phase. So you pick a collection. These guys are sending this collection. So remember, I still have the same symbols. These guys are sending this collection. So they got the evening wear and they got the rock clothing. You then score victory points based on the actual show itself. Now you have to look if you've acquired anything extra. So these guys have got a dress, so that's a trend symbol. So if your symbol matches, you get trend, so we'll store that on there. That one is nothing. These guys have got a trend for the trousers. Now we look at any show cards. So this one says gain 2 PR. So we'll get 2 PR because this great banquet hall has done our public relations for us. We've not got any more show symbols here, but these guys have got this one, which is gain 4 ribbons, which will show you the strength of that shortly. So that's all the little symbols. Make sure you remind yourself that you've got to do them. And the actual show itself then. So you've got PR, which is number 1. These guys have got 2. These guys have got none. So they're going to get 4 ribbons. You have to at least have 1 to be able to participate. Over to the trend, we've got 1 trend versus 1. A tie means it's second place, and there's 0 points in a 2-player game for second place. Over to the most in the collection. These have got 2 in the collection. These have got 1. So they're going to get 2 of the ribbons for that. And finally, quality. It's 2 versus 2. So that's a tie, and there's nothing for ties in a 2-player game on the 4th particular one. So you've got rid of all your little trend tokens and your PR, etc. You've played out all them. You've done the award phase. You go to the sales phase. So the first thing is the prestige. So depending on how many sets are in your collection, you've got 2. You then multiply by the number of ribbons. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 times the 2 is 20 money as like a little bonus for having your collection there and how much prestige you've acquired. These guys, what did they acquire? Oh, I think I may have muddled the 2 collections up. I thought that was a lot for that one. Let's do the maths again. So these guys had 4 for that. These guys had, I can't even, I've took all the tokens away now. That's why you leave the tokens till the end. Let's just assume they had 6. I think they did quite well. So it'd be 6 times the 2 would have been 12 money. These guys have 4 times the 1 is 4 money. So that's the prestige effect. You then do the collection of your sales. So you got 1 collection here. You get rid of your materials, and they're going to get 27 money. So you get your money, discard the design. These guys get rid of these, and they've got 17 for this one and 29 for that. So you can see that you've got your income to prepare you for the next round. You would then move on to the upkeep phase again. So you can see you'd skip down. You'd pay. You'd again get your accountant would pay out your money. This one's accountant would pay out as well, and any more cash registers, so you get a chance to use the investment house as well. You then have to pay any credit back. So you can see here we're paying 20 back for this one because that 2 interest is already add on. Any loans you'd have to pay back as well if you can, and if you can't, then you have to take another loan out to pay to make the payments. So that's the upkeep phase. You then go to this part here, which shows that your contracts are flipped over. So you can see when we first acquire them, they're this way. then you turn it over, it slightly diminishes the benefit, and you can see the X. So the next time this goes through the next quarter, you're going to be discarding this card, so they don't last forever, so be mindful of those. You will literally play quarter by quarter. Once you get to the end here, you get a final chance to turn those prestige into victory points. You add up any money you've got. You'd have to pay off all your loans and credit cards. Add up all your money onto the score tracker on the side. You've got this lovely measuring tape, and whoever has the most victory points is the winner. Now, if you cannot pay your loans off, you are bankrupt and you can't actually participate in the win, even though you might have acquired, more victory points throughout the game than all your opponents. You will not take part for the win. And there we are. You literally keep going throughout the whole year. I love the variety in this one. You've got so many contracts, and at the end of each of these piles is sort of these end of year ones that are slightly nicer, but they make sure that they come out at the right time. You've got so many different designs, a little bit of luck as to what comes out when, and you have to kind of make sure that you set collecting the right ones. I'm only going to stick with the one quarter, otherwise I will literally be here for 3 hours. If you do get a chance to play this one, give it a go and enjoy.